Alright, let's talk about the finale. Hey guys, it's Jack, and All-Star 7 just ended, and it left a lot of people very divided. I'll come out and say that I love the winners all so much, and I am happy that Jinx won. Like I said in all the videos that I made over the course of the season, it didn't really matter who won to me because it's just a marvel that we got all these people back on our screens, and I'm still so happy about that. But if I'm being honest, this finale and the fallout afterwards kind of broke me. In the recent months, I've been frequenting Drag Race Twitter, and it's honestly a very different place than YouTube. And by different, I mean completely divided because everyone shares their opinions on Twitter, and it can get kinda toxic. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself. I just want to talk about the finale first and what didn't work for me. I don't want to direct any negativity or hate whatsoever to any of the queens on the show, rather to the production and the showrunners, because I think there's some things that they could improve on, but even then, it's not really negative, it's just constructive criticism. So with that being said, let's not do lip sync for the crowns anymore. I really think that only 2 seasons had a solid lip sync for the crown, of course season 9 and season 11. This is ultimately because both of these seasons had lip sync assassins all in the top 4. Seasons 10 and 13 had some great lip syncers too, but there were some factors that held them back. Season 10 of course was way too reliant on reveals, and season 13 there was no audience basically, and the lack of audience translates into the lip sync for the crown format that we've gotten for UK vs the World and All Stars 7. Before I continue, I completely understand why they don't do this in front of a huge audience. It's spoilers for the cast of the season, but I do feel like they could film these All Stars finales like they do the regular seasons, filming it months after initial production has ended and most of the episodes have been aired. Something like an all-winner season that had a lot of money put into it should have a grandiose finale instead of just being on the main stage. It just doesn't have the sense of finality I wish it did, because these lip syncs could be interchangeable with any others from the season. And this finale is so interchangeable with every other Lollapalooza, and it just goes against what they've been advertising and hyping up the whole season. These winners have been treated to some of the best promo from the show, some of the best prizes, so to me, I was just expecting a little more at the end. And let me be clear, this just may be a me thing of me hyping myself up too much towards the end, but I feel like in the recent seasons, Drag Race has been really missing the landing. So much of what the core of Drag Race is has been perfected, and we saw so much of that in All Star 7, but at the end it feels like they're too nervous to just go with the standard route, so they end up doing these random things. We saw this in the last episode with 3 stars being given out, kind of rendering a lot of the competition a little obsolete, manufacturing a storyline for Shea where she didn't really need it because she could have been in the top a lot of times, but they kept her out of the top to make this storyline, and then ending on a finale that's pretty lackluster and not really well edited. Again, it could just be me hyping myself up and expecting more because I'm a greedy little bitch, but I just really think that this could have been a lot stronger. Before we dive into what I didn't like about the finale, let's talk about the good moments. The final recap of these queens was so sweet, some of the best TV, just seeing Jada being so congenial, it really makes me feel better about everything that happened, and she's just such a good sport. The lip sync songs were really good choices. We got Judas, I mean come on, you can't go wrong with that. I promise this isn't trying to be shady, they really nailed the recap segment of the show. The UK vs the World finale had a very similar structure to this finale, but the recap on the UK vs the World finale was 20 minutes. This was barely 10, I want to say. Basically, out of every Lollapalooza or lip sync for the crown that we've gotten, this episode definitely flowed the best. It felt like there was a lot of filler in the other episodes, but even with a RuPaul performance here, I never was really bored. I did enjoy the moment where RuPaul said how much he appreciates the girls, and Monet, oh my god, that was so beautiful. And then we got a little reverse of that with each of the girls thanking Ru once they got their scepter, which was also so sweet. Raja almost made me cry. Outside of the actual lip syncs and the performance part of the episode, there was finality with all the girls talking to Ru and kind of having a good send-off. So I do want to highlight and appreciate that because that is a hard thing to do, and I really think they nailed that. But then we do get to the actual lip syncs. The She Done Already Done had hers as group. Their lip syncs were all really good. I think that the rightful winners won each time. I think Raja and Evie was kind of a toss up, but I do understand why Raja won. But then we get to the top 4 lip syncs, and I think we all know they were all edited a little roughly. First, I think Jinx versus Shea was the least edited, and I think it was the most even out of the performances. Shea busted out the original choreography, which I think was so good, and Jinx really worked that cape a lot. Between these two and the track records and how everything shook down, I think they were hoping that Jinx would be even with Shea so they could send them to the finale, and that's what happened. And then we get to Trinity versus Monet, which was just cut down because Monet was humping Trinity. This was just a really fun lip sync, and I really wish we did get to see that moment, but it's also just so cool because the Twinner storyline ends here. I wanted to save this praise for this specific section, but I think having the Twinners storyline end right here is so insanely smart. Do I think that wheel is rigged? Yeah, 100%. I think that they didn't want the Twinners to make it to the end of the finale because it was never the real storyline of the season, but it was something that was always there, so to end it in the finale but not at the very end, just perfect. Perfect. They both served the lip sync and had so much fun with each other, but I think sending Monet to the end was the best choice. Trinity had more challenge wins, Monet had more stars, and I think Monet had more consistent and building storylines, so I think she was more eligible to crown in the end than Trinity, if that makes sense, but either one of them I wouldn't have been upset. But then of course we do get to Swish Swish, which there's something ironic. My original idea for this week's video had something to do with the scandalous lip sync on UK Series 3, so I posted in my community tab asking about lip syncs that people would want to see unedited, and then we get this one, probably the most edited lip sync ever. I had no idea that this was about to come down the pipeline, it was just a weird coincidence, but yeah, I do want to see the unedited lip sync. I completely understand why they edited the lip sync the way they did, because they wanted Jinx to win in the end, but I'm just mad that this was probably Monet's best lip sync ever, and we just don't get to see it. Two very iconic things that could have easily won Monet the lip sync or even the whole season were edited out in order to make Jinx look better, which again is totally fine, but I just want to see them as a viewer of television. One was Monet pulling out Trinity, Shay, and Jinx's lipsticks in order to eliminate them, which iconic, so iconic. And then the other was Jinx stopping to watch Monet rap the Nicki verse because of course it would be iconic, and that basically signifies that Jinx was just giving the stage to Monet. Someone pointed out that the lip sync looked like they were trying to avoid copyright on YouTube, which is kind of accurate. Trust me, I will talk about this lip sync in my next craziest edits video. So now that we've talked about them, let's get into what makes people so upset about this whole format. I think it's very clear that Monet won this final lip sync. Jinx even gave her the stage in order to rap Nicki all by herself. So people are upset by how this was edited and the fact that Monet didn't win because of this final performance. With all the evidence coming out to show how much they edited down the lip sync, it's clear that production had their hands in it to make sure that Jinx would get the win, but here's the thing. Production had their hands in a lot of things over the course of the season, but that shouldn't discredit Jinx's domination. There is a lot of backlash towards Jinx online because they did so well in the competition, and I just don't get why. Talk all you want about judging and top 2 placements, but Jinx didn't place themselves. I'm sorry that they did so well over the course of the competition. So in the end, when Jinx has justified their win in every single other episode except for this one, it makes sense why they took the crown home. Me saying Monet won the finale lip sync shouldn't discredit Jinx's win, but the whole finale just kind of goes against everything that Jinx has been working towards for the whole season. Which brings me to my final point about this. I think the lip sync for the crown format, aside from being a little tired, puts a lot of emphasis on something that not every single queen is good at. Jinx can serve comedy, theatrics so much in a lip sync, but when they're tasked to be kind of that bad bitch and swish swish, it's just not going to look as good, and that sours their win in the end where they kind of dominated every other portion. If we want the true sense of finality and a full winner by the end of the finish line, I think editing Monet to win that lip sync would have made her win in the end, and it would have felt a lot better, but I know going into it with the amount of wins that Jinx had, I feel like they already had the idea that they wanted to crown Jinx. And again, I think that's okay, but this format just opens a whole can of worms that I don't think needs to be opened. Yes, if it was another finale format, it would probably take away a lot of the stakes because we knew that Jinx was gonna win, but I still think it's more fair and fulfilling than butchering a whole lip sync performance. They get crowned in a different finale format, yeah, okay, it's a kind of predictable, but it makes sense. They get crowned in a lip sync for the crown after losing a lip sync. It's gonna raise a lot more questions. I think you get what I'm trying to say, I'm just rambling at this point. So now let's get a little bit into the fallout. To people online who didn't want Jinx to win, I think Jinx represented a lot of what they didn't like about the show, and I don't think that's fair to them. A win for Jinx in the end represents a lot of production rigging in a way. There's rumors going around online that they switched some challenges in order to make it more successful for Jinx, and again, Jinx doesn't have control over it. So frustration for production somehow trickled over into hate for Jinx, and we shouldn't be letting that happen. And I feel like hate towards Jinx is trickling down because they don't like the people surrounding her, but Jinx is nothing like these toxic fans. Jinx has been at the forefront for every positive thing I've seen online. They're an activist, they're so talented. Just because they attract fans that are maybe annoying to you, it doesn't mean they should be getting hate. And that goes for every single person on the cast. I think the verdict of this finale has brought out the worst in so many people, and it has been exhausting to keep up with, and I'm honestly kind of done. I built my brand on positivity, and obviously I've been growing a lot, thank you guys so much, but it's been harder to manage a lot of the negativity that's been in my comments, that's been on Twitter, etc. You know what I mean. So please, I know this finale was divisive to a lot of people, but can we just spread some positivity? Drag Race has changed my life, it's changed a lot of people's lives, and I think that spreading this positivity and knowing the scope and knowing how it's helped is so much better than continuing to hate people, to continue to say someone was robbed. It's just not the energy that I want to put out, and I don't really want to see that either. Using that energy to support a queen you love instead of tearing down another queen is just going to be so much better in the long run, and please trust me on that. It feels like online right now there's a lot of echo chambers that eventually just stack up this negativity, even if they aren't really trying to, and counteracting that with positivity, I think it's just the best course of action. So even if you don't agree with the verdict of the show, this is not the end for any of these queens, and I know you guys know that. So please go support them on social media, go to their tours, listen to their music. They all have music except Jada at this point. Something that I used to end my videos with, and I probably am going to start doing again, is it's easy to hate, but it's a lot more fun to spread love. All-Star 7 was the start to one era and the end to another. I really appreciate every single queen that was on the show, and I'm sad that it's over, but at the same time, I cannot be more grateful. I'm recording this section a couple days after I first recorded this video, and I don't want this to come off as that one clip from Mean Girls of the girl crying and saying that she wants to bake a cake out of rainbows and everything to just go back to normal. I just don't like when things get a little too negative online because I feel like I absorb that no matter what just because of the type of person I am. So I hope you guys still enjoyed this video, and I have a couple updates. So I'm moving back down to SoCal in a couple weeks for school, and I just want to let you know that some of the videos may not be as high quality, but I'm still going to try and upload as frequently as possible. Trying to get housing down there right now is stressing me out more than anything else I've ever done before, so I'm going to try and focus on YouTube as much as I can, but also I just need a place to live, period. So my uploads may be a little less frequent, but we'll have to play it by ear. I could be saying this and it could be completely normal. So that's about it. Once I get situated down there, I'm going to start recording some more IRL videos, maybe some collabs, fingers crossed. So stay tuned to that. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I will see you soon with another video.